Dave McArthur and Tony New right at the back end, but two Carl Cox bikes on the front. It's a Carl Cox colour festival here at the moment with the pit box here full of Carl Cox t-shirts and people and supporters and those sidecars. You can hear that thundering V-twin of the Aprilia now on song, the 92 machine from Wanganui with my brother Ian Staples on it. He's been having trouble all this weekend, but watch him for a bit of fireworks as we see dust turned up in the first corner, people cutting the corner and that, and already I think that is Tim Reeves and Mark Wilkes after doing a lightning fast engine change out in the front there. They go through turn 5 here at Taupo Motorsport Park. In second place 73 Barry Smith and Tracy Bryan. A bit of a balking there coming out of turn 5 for someone, and that slowed Spike Taylor down. Spike Taylor and Astrid Hartnell rearing number 1. They won the series last year. They go round the outside of that Formula 2 machine in turn 7. Make the track longer, but get the drive out there. Here comes Adam Unsworth with his new passenger. Now, who is Adam Unsworth running? He's running Bryce Rose from Wanganui, normally a classic rider, and a change of position. Oh, they're all over the place here as we see 24 sidecars in the field. 24 sidecars there here at Taupo Motorsport Park. 9 Formula 2 machines and 15 Formula 1 machines as we see the Lawrence brothers, number 11, pull out at turn 7. So their bike on the outside of the track there. So they need to get off the track there. Be nice if the bike got off there. But right, a battle coming down. The Formula 1 versus Formula 2. The Formula 1 bike dives in there into turn 13 there. And that's the long bike versus short bike. Watch this. I'll tell you what, it's been a treat to see all weekend. Tim Reeves, the 5-time World Formula 1 champion, pumped this bike, this little short bike, into turn. Watch it. It just lifts up once and twice. Hello, we got a red flag situation, I think that's probably because of that that bike on the outside of that corner and the lacky yellow flag there. So guys trying to get that bike out there, hopefully. Inside, foreign on the outside, Carl Cox Motorsport there. Shuts the door there going off to turn 1 there. They did an engine change between the qualifying. This is Tim Reeves and Mark Wilkes. And the first race, and of course we've had a couple of restarts there, but everyone's sort of clean through there. A lot of big green bikes there. Andy Scrivener, I think 9 times New Zealand sidecar champion out there, back on a long bike finally. He picked the pirate in behind him on one, but look at that healthy lead already from Tim Reeves and Mark Wilkes on the letter T machine, followed by 73 Barry Smith and Tracy Bryan in third place. Oh, that's Adam Unsworth was a new swinger, Bryce Rose there. Yeah, I think he missed a gear there, and that allowed Spike Tayller from Marston and Wanganuy's Astrid Hartnell on the number 1 bike to close up there. They're going into turn 7 here for the first lap of, I think, 8-lap sidecar race. Action aplenty up there, Neil Ritchie.
Oh, yes, indeed it is, and fantastic to see. Man, oh man, this is a moment we've waited for. Sidecar fans, ever since I was a kid and going to Wanganui, we've always loved sidecars, and long may it continue. Spider, my co-commentator today, was a man that I always looked up to with his racing, because it was probably the first time I actually got inside sidecars, because I knew Spider as a mate, and to find out just what went on in the world of sidecars was incredible. And ever since then, I've been amazed by them. And I'd like to congratulate the New Zealand Sidecar Racing Association. They're putting on a hospitality barbecue next Saturday at Manfield for all of the sidecar families that come to Manfield. And they want to say to all of these overseas people, let's all get together. And that's what I think is so special. We should call them the sidecar whānau almost. That's what they are, a massive family, and we're loving every bit of it. But what about this racing, everybody? That's what you've come to see, and it's an F1 and an F2 machine, and Spider will tell you more about the difference between them. But here we go, because Barry and Tracy want to have a tuck of this, and there's Tim, look at that, looking over his left shoulder. But look at Mark Wilkes down in there, and you absolutely, when you look from the front, you could not see him perfectly in behind the aerodynamics of the bike. Goes out a little bit wide. Look at that, the big nose of the F1 machine comes and gives him almost a nudge in the back. And Barry, of course, that's the last thing he'd want to do, but Tim Wilkes doing all that hard work, and it was just so neat today to talk to Tim and say, how was it? Of course, he had a freak accident, not non-racing related, when he was here 2 years ago. Last year they had a mechanical problem. I said, what did it take to lure you to come back for third time lucky? He said, absolutely nothing, just loves being here in New Zealand. And what a smile on his face. I said, any limitations from your accident 2 years ago? And he said, a slight inability to be sort of cranking your neck about 180 degrees, if you get my idea. But he certainly gets a good peripheral, and it hasn't affected his desire to be here in New Zealand. Along with that, his super rider out there, of course, and Tim Reeves. These men are tops, of course, World Championship fine teams that we've got as well. So We talked about it before, European champions, world champions, TT champions, along with Australian champions and New Zealand champions, the best lineup of talent we've ever seen in sidecar racing in New Zealand, folks. And you can see it yourself being here at trackside as well. And make sure you take an opportunity to get to the other two events as well, with Manfield next Sunday and, of course, Boxing Day, Tuesday the 26th for Wanganui in that cemetery circuit finale, because these are world-class sidecar competitors as we go on for it. And another tight one. They run the full straight. They'll come down here to the chicane and go into it, and look at that little advantage, because that's where the guys have got it, and they get that. Oh, look at that from Tracy back. Look at the work she's doing. Fantastic to watch, because right there with them at the moment, of course, we see Bears. That's Barry Smith. Barry doing the good work, and there they go. So looking out for them now, and the big charge is on at this stage. So Barry Smith, Tracy Bryan up against Tim Reeves and Mark Wilkes and Spider, and there's the advantage. They're around the other way from that previous lap. How good is the F1 machine over the F2, do you say here?
Oh, it's not as good through the infield, certainly, compared with the little Formula 2 bike, but it's that right there where they reel them in. But, of course, they've got to haul it up as well. They've got more speed, more weight. 3 days ago, this bike was stuck in Singapore, so a lot of work by Gavin Sokolich, the Carl Cox Motorsport manager, to get it out here and get it out to the track. And they close up into turn 7 here at Taupo Motorsport Park. Long bike versus short bike. Open up, and look how this 600 flies up out of turn 8 into turn 9 and reels them in, gets up close enough almost to do some slipstreaming. They'll disappear out of sight. We look at the third place, Spike Taylor and Astrid Hartnell, and then it is the Boss Engineering Machine with Adam Unsworth, new passenger Bryce Rose on there, and a massive battle further down there amongst them is local man Andy Scrivener with Tina McEwen there from the Bay of Plenty there doing the swinging. There's 5 bikes here, it's hard to see between them at all.
Hey, so great to see the Taupo man, of course, on that Suzuki powered unit, Andy Scrivener. Andy, a legend of our sidecar family, and nice to see people like Andy, and of course as well with Adam Unsworth making a huge effort to get on the track, because these guys, it's not just good being great Kiwi sidecar supporters, these are great competitors of past, and that's one of the things that's a real lure to have these kind of guys in action with us. So great to see, and listen to the supporters down here at the moment giving them a cheer on, and great to watch. World class entertainment at the top of its game. And Barry, of course, Barry and his family, lovely hosts as well to our overseas competitors. In fact, letter L with Greg Lambert and Julie Canepa. So nice to have them over on board with us. Pleasure to have met them today, and hope to see more of them throughout the series as you can as well, folks. So when you see all of those letters down there, B, D, E, L, R, S, T, W, you get the idea. They're all our international lineups. And the T out there for Tim and Mark, what an exceptional run they're putting on as well. But look at that, Spider, back to the two of them, and nothing to separate one from two. Oh, here we go, and the big one, and over she goes. The sidecar's on its side, look at that, and we saw the rider, one of those was coming out. Now we've gone to a red straight away. Look at that, that's a good work by a swinger there, Spider, because the red just happened right there for those guys, and the swinger, the first thing he did was he whacked his rider on the back and pointed there to where that red was going.
Oh, meanwhile, that last lap through the infield, Tim Reeves and Mark Wilkes just Formula 1 bike in, going through turn 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, and right on them coming out of turn 5 as it opened up. The big Formula 1 bike opened up, and then, of course, we saw that big crash. It's an unusual place to crash too, coming on the inside of a corner. They've obviously come out of that corner, put the gas on, it's slidden. I don't know whether slidden's a real word, but it's definitely there. The fairing come off, and the sidecar passenger looks like he's up now. I don't even know where the rider is. It's dramas aplenty. And
I'm too busy. I'm too busy having fun and researching the next story and, you know, getting on with it.
Well done, thank you, Terry Stevenson. Over to you, Spider.
Right, we're back in action. The 2 Formula 2 bikes out in the front here. 9 Formula 2 bikes, 15 Formula 1 bikes here for the Suzuki Series sidecars. Already Tim Reeves and Mark Wilkes show their nose in front by about 30 metres. Here it is, number 8, Adam Unsworth and Bryce Rose, followed by 73 now. So that Formula 3 bike's got 2 bikes got gobbled up to about 5th. So Formula 2, then 3 big Formula 1 bikes here. Honda, followed by Suzuki as they head into turn 5 here at Taupo Motorsport Park. There it is, the Boss Engineering Machine, a new passenger. They're really only just doing practice and gelling together at the moment, and going to go hard out at Wanganui. Had a huge crash here last year, one of the most spectacular motorsport photos I've ever seen. and that was Adam Unsworth and his passenger Stu Dawes tipped their bike upside down, come back for Wanganui and had a win there. But right now, Tim Reeves, Mark Wilkes on the little Formula 2 bike opens up about a 140 metre gap. I think Spike Taylor's gone into second. Yes, indeed, Spike Taylor from Marston on the mobility wire wrapper machine with Astrid Hartnell from Wanganui. Another historic family in sidecar racing. Your old man raced and built sidecars for years, gone into second place. We see them come out onto the long straight. That little 600 will lose pace here, definitely lose pace, but and they know it. They know how to put the string round the infield. You don't become 5 times world champion for no reason at all. They went to England this year for the BSB, 20 wins out of 20 starts. Incredible. It's Tim and his brother Tristan. 73 back into second place. 73, I did say it was Spike Taylor. Sorry, that was a change for third and fourth.
There we go, so checking it out as well as we go racing at the moment. Tim Reeves and Mark Wilkes for number 1. That's the F2 sidecar with Barry Smith and Tracy Bryan in the F1 unit, looking to Spike and Astrid there in third place. They've got 1 on their sidecar because, of course, once again, they are New Zealand number 1 pairing. They won it in 2015, did it again, sorry, 2014, did it again in 2016. And Spike had done it about 15 years before that, so he's now been a 3 times champion in my records. I'm sure there'll be others as well, plus the fact that he might have some TTs and Grand Prix along the way as well. So a bit proud of you, number 1. The awesome wire wrapper man, Mr. Spike Taylor for mobility wire wrapper, and Astrid is great swinger out of Wanganui. So there they go. That's your top 3 as we look out for Adam Unsworth and Bryce Rose for that 4th place. They've made the change and moved up in there ahead of Tony Baker this time and Shelley Smithy. So they've got an F2 sidecar as well. So great to see what they can do as underdogs in our lineup. And they come from Penrith in the UK on the Baker Suzuki 600. And again, as Spider is highlighting, having those F2 sidecar units. So great that they can battle it out there. Spider, why would you be choosing an F2 sidecar here at Taupo? Are they thinking with the series that they're going to get more of an advantage at Manfield and certainly Wanganui?
Well, I think definitely the F2 has an advantage along most of the track here, apart from that long straight. Manfield, it might be a bit tighter because there's 3 open straights here, so Formula 1 would be the answer, I think, there. But I'll tell you what, if it gets wet anywhere, mate, these little bikes are just so much easier to handle around just a short wheelbase, are so much easier to handle around a wet circuit. But right now, coming along the start-finish straight, 15 bike lengths between first and second. We've got short bike in the front. Watch the way Tim Reeves tips this thing in there and flicks it up, not once but twice. Not so much high there, but 73 definitely closed in there. Neil Richards are both flicked dust up from the infield.
That was just beautiful to watch for Tim and Mark, the sliding that's going on with that little unit. They turn the old statement, spin it on a dime, folks, and that's a real example of it. And if you want to watch it to excellence, keep an eye here on turn 1 at the bottom end of the start straight. That is so good. And the ground that they cover in that short distance, they would certainly be doing probably what you could argue is a 10th of the track distance to cover than that bigger sidecar behind them, and that's why they're holding their own on a smaller 600. Interesting to hear that, of course, the world of sidecar racing has actually gone to 600s. Of course, the Isle of Man have done it for a number of years as well. So these 600 machines are great. And I remember at one stage the Lawrence Brothers Spider brought their British unit that they'd had over from TT and brought it back to New Zealand as a 600, and they didn't lose much on any of the F1 sidecars in New Zealand at the time as well. Do you see in the future that maybe we just settle on a 600 because we're doing so much toing and froing with these people in the UK and the bikes, etc.? Is that a future, negative or positive for it?
Oh, no, definitely. The problem is the first thing you've got to do is not obsolete what you got. So we don't want a hell of a lot of Formula 1 sidecars just being obsoleted straight away. But certainly the 600s are an answer. But right now that big bike gobbled up the 600. 73 comes into turn 14, turn 13, turn 14 with Tim Reeves, Mark Wilkes about 3 to 4 bike lengths behind them. Different lengths in the bikes, but you get the picture. They come along the start-finish line. We're looking out for lap times. And nowhere near lap record time at the moment. As I say, that Formula 1, 36.137, 36.646. So half a second off lap record there. Watch this little bike, reel in the big bike, going through the infield. They come out of turn 1, into turn 2, off to 3, and you know what it goes like from there, folks.
Certainly, and it does. And look at that, the Kiwis out in front at the moment. Mr. Barry Smith along with Mrs. Tracy Bryan. There you go. Great to see, of course, husband Steve does so much behind the scenes as well, but Tracy and Steve, what a fantastic couple they are, and with Tracy's opportunity to be as a lightweight swinger, this lady pumps more adrenaline than most others do in a lifetime. And of course, once again, motorsport and New Zealand sport full stop doesn't recognise ladies like Tracy. What an elite sports person she is. Who would have the courage to do what she does out there on a motorcycle, and to be in this winning form is just incredible. I had the privilege to swing on a sidecar probably about 8 years ago, give or take, and I was only at a machine doing about half to 2/3 power, and saw what a buzz that was. So for Tracy to be out there doing what she does as a world-class combination and world-class machinery, of course these are top quality machines as well. I just take my hat off to this lady, and other ladies out there to be inspired in whatever you're doing in life or in work or in your love of any other sport. Check out Tracy Bryan. She just is one amazing woman, and look what she's doing out there with Barry on board. They've politely got an age difference as well, and I think that earns the respect of each other and what they do. And you'd almost think they were a couple in the way that they've got the respect for each other and know what's going on. And look at Tracy, her agility, her agileness, and her sleek build gives her the opportunity to hop in behind. Look at that, see how low she is. Look at that, tucked down in behind that fairing and going through there. So too for Tim back in there. And that man, what a story to tell. I said to him earlier today when I shook his hand again, said, welcome back to New Zealand, third time lucky. I said, was there any hesitation in coming back because he's had so much bad luck here in the past? He said, never, wanted to come back unfinished business, and he's loving every part of it, so well done. And Mr. Tim Reeves, our world-class man, Spider, in the record and history of sidecars, has anybody won more than Tim Reeves in the modern history of the sport?
Oh, I don't think so. I'm not too sure on that. We might actually ask Tim. Look, we're 20 thousandths of a second off lap record time, 20 thousandths of a second. And we're talking about Tracy Bryan there. She's also got the lap record passing for her brother and broke it again at Wanganui for classic sidecars. She's also done a lot of miles on that bike that the Lawrence brothers bought in that you were talking about. Changed hands and they bought it and it's called Pinky. So she knows her way around driving. She's got the aggressiveness and the concentration and the confidence to ride a sidecar as well as passenger on a sidecar. So outstanding family. And of course the old man won at the cemetery circuit in 1977, Tony Cave and Roger Stent, and the old man builds these classic bikes.
Yeah, there we go. Great history and great families and great people to have in our sport as well. These record entries, folks, and fabulous turnout. And did you hear that before from Carl Cox as well, offering if anybody wanted any photos, selfies or autographs today, the legendary DJ going to Vietnam for New Year's. I just find that incredible. The boundaries that man is setting, the challenges in your life. How many other people, of course, he could have gone to any gig back in the UK and have attained a lot more people on board and just continued on his successful career path. But I tell you what, he just wants to set new boundaries, and that's what he's doing for our sport. There we go. Tracy to do it. Well done. Great effort out there. So well done as they come home with the glory. So great performance out there on the 73 machine. Mr. Barry Smith, Mrs. Tracy Bryan, home for the glory ahead of number one from, letter T, my apologies, for Tim and Mark down towards the number one there. And yes, indeed, and Spike and Astrid to get up there in the end. So they took that third place. So great effort from them. And remembering, of course, that now you're talking about the professional versus the semi-professional, and still take your hat off to Spike there, Spider, because, the guy, this is just a love and a passion that he does in the weekends. The rest of the time he's, of course, creating a business and an opportunity for him and his family. So you'd definitely call him a part-timer compared to the efforts and the resources of the others. So take your hat off to Spike Taylor. Isn't he a great sport?
Yeah, unfortunately he can't do the South Island. He has booked to do it, but they're just out of funds to do that. So if anyone wants to